Gerda's 90th birthday. I think I've been asked here today because I was lucky enough to meet Gerda about 2 years ago. I started volunteering with the Friends of Harlow sculpture, and the first task I was given was to look at a sculpture by a different artist, Sally Doig, which was at the time sited at the ARC. It was a cement work and had suffered considerable water damage. It's now housed in the Gibberd gallery for that reason. On doing the research into that sculpture, I could find literally nothing out about Sally Doig. And being new to Harlow, I had seen Gerda's name and her sculptures everywhere and was wowed about this really important artist to Harlow. So I took my chance, which some of you will know I tend to do, and I got in touch with Gerda to ask her a few questions, just fishing basically. What I didn't realise was that eventually she would invite me round to her house for the afternoon and literally talked non-stop all afternoon about her life, about making, and about her individual works as well. And so I had this absolutely wonderful afternoon with Gerda, and absolute privilege to be here today, and I'm going to share some reflections on that meeting with you. So that meeting with Gerda was a bit of an initiation for me. That was my first talk, believe it or not, with what I consider to be a real artist. And I was wowed by Gerda's willingness to share. She literally talked all afternoon, and I had to repeatedly say, are you sure this is okay? Because I just keep on asking questions. And she talked and talked, and I learned so much. She struck me with her kindness, firstly, in welcoming me into her home, and of course with her amazing energy. So I'll take away much from that afternoon. For someone working in heritage, in legacy, my interest is in two things. The first is in beauty, and the second is connecting the past to the present through the beauty in the work and the labour of the artist. I made plenty of notes that day, as I said. So I've got a couple of snippets of her past. I find this stuff really interesting, so I'm going to share it. She told me about how her mother was always an anti-left-handedness. At school, she had to wear a ribbon round her arm so that the teachers knew if she was using her left hand instead of her right. It was a different world then, and people did stupid things. If you burned yourself, then people would put butter on it. But those sorts of things are long ago. That sort of story just shows what comes out of the connection of art and heritage, finding out through objects the story about 70 years ago. Gerda was born in 1931 in Berlin, and she says that the Second World War had a profound life-altering effect on her future. She has expressed the sense of freedom and hope that she experienced as a teenager in Holland after 5 years of occupation in World War II, that it never really left her and always coloured her work. In this way, it's notable that almost all of her works are of people or of animals, are full of joy and fun and happiness. This is notable in her series of cities, one of which is here in the garden and one in Bishopsfield. We also have Screen in the Gibberd gallery, which is a perfect example of the sense of joy that exudes from Gerda's work. We see people dancing, talking, playing music, painting. We see characters wearing hats, children, people exercising or going about their days. On talking to Gerda that day when I met her, I of course wanted to know what she could tell me about Sir Freddie and Lady Gibberd. She told me stories about them, and her tender expressions conveyed the deep sense of affection she has for them. Of course, they became friends back in the 70s, and this is obvious from the sheer number of sculptures that we have in Harlow and in the garden itself. She told me about Lady Gibberd coming to her show in Blackheath and buying the tower that she gave to Freddie for his wedding gift a few months later. She told me about Freddie and his magic in the garden and the way he'd built the town. She said that he always saw art as things for people rather than himself, and that he was always building with people in mind. I think similar could be said for Gerda. She's always making with people in mind. Happy birthday to Gerda, 90 today, a wonderful, special and kind artist.
So many friends. Haven't seen so many faces in one place for a long time. Gerda Rubenstein, I call her the people's sculptor. Acutely observational, beautifully expressive, celebrating life through ordinary people in natural stance and activity. From the contemplative mood of mother and child, over here, and the sheer joy of exuberance to the powerful expression of movement in the ballerina Makarova, Gerda's ability to observe and express knows no bounds and brings joy to many. One of my most rewarding experiences with Gerda's work is being able to share it with the blind and partially sighted through the sense of touch. This came about by accident. I was talking about Pound Mill to the members of Harlow U3A, and somebody put their hand up and said, "Are you allowed to touch the work in your gallery?" And I started going off about the age of 16 being taken by Henry Moore to hug his sculptures and saying, well, I think a tactile aspect of sculpture is very important. I didn't realise why she was asking, but I soon learned. So I went about getting in touch with blind societies and partially sighted societies, and I took a copy of Gerda's Julia to their various meetings and would place it on the table in front of this partially sighted or blind person, placing their hands on the sculpture and showing them where Gerda had moulded the clay with her fingers and thumbs, and how they were able to feel the attitude of the limbs, the angle of the head, and the expression in that particular piece of sculpture. And that was, excuse the pun, an eye-opener for me, and has raised my awareness of the need for inclusivity in the arts. This piece, by the way, is now much loved, and it has a wonderful patina because it's been handled so much, and it lives with the Klempners, lucky people. Gerda has produced her work in small editions, much of which are in bronze resin. This not only means that she has managed production herself, but more importantly for many of us here today, it has made her work affordable and thus able to enrich the lives of many more who are able to enjoy it close quarters on a daily basis. I feel hugely privileged to know and work with such a talented artist and have been taught how to restore and maintain her work. Albeit our friends at the Gibberd Gallery, together with Sally Anderson and myself at the gallery at Palmer Mill, have found new homes for much of Gerda's available work, there are still opportunities to purchase, especially in the life-size editions. So don't be shy. I'm always available to discuss. Now, I have a message for you all from Gerda. Hello to you all. I think it's amazing that you have come to the garden today to celebrate my work and mark my birthday. I wish I could have been able to join you, but the limitations of age, we all know. I find it such an honour and feel so touched by your thinking my work is something to celebrate. Goodness gracious, girl. I've been lucky enough always to have been able to afford to express myself freely in my work, which I was only able to do because of the support and encouragement I have been given, and it is no exaggeration to say how important a part of that my long-time relationship with Harlow and indeed the Gibberd Garden has been. From the beginning, when Pat introduced my work to him, Freddie's continuing patronage was hugely important to me professionally, for which I shall always be grateful, as was his friendship, which I was privileged to enjoy. I find it very moving that you, the friends, continue to look after his garden and all the sculpture in it so faithfully and so lovingly. And in that connection, special thank you to Roger for his technical and promotional assistance. So a big thank you to you, and my very best wishes to all the friends. Long may the garden be there for everyone to appreciate and enjoy. Love, Gerda Rubenstein. So, yes, Gerda. We're here to celebrate the milestone birthday of the people's sculptor and Harlow's darling, Gerda Rubenstein. So, ladies and gentlemen, please pray charge your glasses by rushing to the table over here. Because I'd like us all to sing happy birthday to Gerda to express our love, gratitude, affection and admiration. Gerda Rubenstein, the people's sculptor and Harlow's darling. Happy birthday, Gerda. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gerda. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!